Hi, I'm Gloria Gutierrez, and I'm here to talk to you about Salesforce trailblazing, which is basically skilling up and using all the resources in the Salesforce community to get ready for your career and your future in Salesforce. Before we get started, if you've been to any Salesforce presentations, you've seen what's called a forward-looking statement. We want to remind you Salesforce is a publicly traded company, so if we were to talk about any future products or any awesome things coming on Trailhead, we would have that forward-looking statement. So just to be aware of that. However, we're not really doing that today. We're going to talk about all the awesomeness that does exist right here, right now. And before we get started, I'm going to slow it down and I'm going to say thank you for being interested in learning about Salesforce and working on your Salesforce skills and learning about the Salesforce approach to business. We know that the world is wide open to you and your time is so valuable. And we are grateful for the fact that you are here today and you are in this program. And so I'm Gloria Gutierrez. I'm today's speaker. I'm manager and partner enablement at Salesforce. But I'm going to give you basically my trailblazer story annotated. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about my journey towards a Salesforce career, and then we'll talk about all the different options that are open to you and that can lead to your success in your own Salesforce career as a Salesforce trailblazer, because that's what I'm here to do. My experience always is and background is deeply rooted in education and educational technology. I've worked in K-12 and higher ed institutions. I've also worked with educational media publication companies, and now I'm working at Salesforce. So my goals, my personal outlook has always been one that is focused on the power of education and technology and how it can transform people's lives. But that essential part of the transformation, you need the human element. So it's no surprise that, I went into teaching for a while, went into other training and other methods that mix all of those together. So that essential element to successful educational experiences, building innovative products, and implementing business successes, that all requires human element and an understanding of the technology. Without us communicating or collaborating and sharing what we know, we cannot get very far. So in essence, the human element to me is the element of success. And that's where trailblazing and trailblazers like you and myself and the rest of the community, that's where we enter the picture. So as we go through this slide deck, my story is going to be mixed with the slides. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what happened when and how it kind of, uplifted me or changed my skill set. And in short, I'm going to just give you that overview right now. I've gone from being a community member or a trailblazer to being a community group leader, and we'll talk about those in a bit, to being a Salesforce employee who values engagements like this to help others realize their potential and reach your own version of success. I'm still a trailblazer, but my role has changed, and change, you make it be a good thing. So own the change and kind of grow those skills and for good. So my current role at Salesforce is partner enablement, specifically in the Service Cloud space. This means that I work with a partner ecosystem to make sure that partners have access to materials and experiences and subject matter experts, to very similar to what we're doing today with Pathstream. It helps partners achieve their level of success, which in turn helps their customers achieve their success. So everybody wins. And enablement solutions for me look like I build curriculum, I work with subject matter experts, I host partner-only webinars, and I develop content. And that goes back to my media experience, videos, documents, presentations, that partners can use at any time asynchronously to skill themselves up, just similar to what you're going to do now. So today, I would like to leave this webinar presentation knowing that you can go on your own trail to continue building your skills and your career and create your own success in Salesforce, because there are opportunities to connect and grow not only with your technical skills, but within a network of people who are by nature caring innovators and who want others to succeed. That is what the Trailblazer community is all about. I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it because it's been nothing but useful and precious and a positive experience for me. But first, let me drop a little bit about Salesforce. If you're familiar with Salesforce, you know that we have 5 pillars. Trust, it kind of goes to our security and our data structures. Customer success, everything that we do builds on that customer success. Innovation, keeping products digital oriented and changing products when we need to, when there's value in making things better. Equality, making sure the workforce and there's opportunities for all. And then sustainability is our core value, making sure that we as a company work towards net zero, but also developing other ways that we can reach out into the community and make the world basically a little bit better. So these aren't just words. I work at this company that has processes, practices, and policies all in place that create a foundation that align to these core values. And all of these values have one thing in common, and that is to create a product that is fully supported in an ecosystem that helps customers achieve success. And these values cannot be realized. This is where you come in without trailblazers like you. And we will just see how Salesforce enables this trailblazing community to bring success to customers and to your own career. And that is what, we're going to keep talking about that all day long. Another Salesforce slide. We are a highly competitive product in a long established market. We continue to hold a value that's impressive. But, how does that apply to you? What does that mean to me? You're showing me a graph. I don't know what it means. It means that you are pursuing a career or a skill set that involves Salesforce, but you're also skilling up for a software that'll be around for quite some time. Hey, I will tell you, when I was beginning teaching, Adobe Photoshop was mind blowing. I loved it. Had all my kids learn it. Things change, passions change, your outlook changes, but it's still here. Love Adobe, by the way. But the fact that Salesforce has so many different facets, whether industry related, tech related, or soft skill change management related, also opens up all these different opportunities for you. So big place in the market, big place to grow some skill sets. And skilling up in Salesforce might also reinforce your inner global citizen and enable you to know trailblazers in many countries and collaborate on projects with professionals around the globe. I've worked on many projects and sometimes it's early in the morning when you're doing it, but it's okay. And then this is the last Salesforce slide, I promise you. Salesforce as a platform and a company revolves around this concept of the customer 360. I'm sure you've seen that. Every cloud or solution we develop or innovate or undertake revolves around bringing success to customers and in turn their customers. So all of these efforts every day are supported again by our 5 core pillars. Let me just tell you an example, and it's going to be top of the high level example. I have a widget company and I sold that widget using Sales Cloud. And then the customer calls in and they have an issue. And then we're going to use some Service Cloud. And through maybe next best action, they're interested in marketing, buying something. So Experience Cloud, by the way, is now with marketing. So I'm touching the customer in so many different places. Sales, service, marketing, commerce. Those are all industries that you can chase. You can go study, you can go pursue. I mean, all these different facets. And then, my support rep, my service rep, having to get an invoice for this customer, customer calls in. They used to have to swivel chair to like the other system, Salesforce with integration, efficiencies come in, customer satisfaction comes in, and then the frictionless customer and agent experience comes in. And that was only, say, 5 of the options on this big old wheel. So point being, there's so much opportunity with this product. And I'll tell you right now, I worked in a very enterprise structured. We had, I kid you not, maybe 6 or 7 products. You can't know everything, and it's okay. Give yourself a break. If you really love something, learn it. And if you're kind of interested in something else, learn that too. But never put that pressure on yourself where you feel like you need to know everything. That's a little advice that I learned the hard way. From a personal note, from the moment I saw Salesforce about 8 years ago, I knew that holistically, this makes sense. One place, all our units working together, sales and service, a website for self-service. Why would this be wrong? It just made sense. And at that same point, I was looking for something new. I was looking for a new challenge, something that I got passionate about. And I think you can tell, pretty passionate about this. So, follow your passions, follow your interests. And we're going to do a poll right now. I even have, oh, no, go back. But what do you like about it? So, my guest, why are you pursuing or considering pursuing a Salesforce program? Are you looking to get skills for employment, specifically in Salesforce? Do you know people in the Salesforce ecosystem and, you got the bug from them? You like hands-on learning, that's okay. Or the dreaded other option. We can't do a whole list, so we're just going to put it in other.
We'll go ahead and end the poll and share the results.
Nice.
Can you see the results?
I can. I'm hoping others can too. Yeah, most of you, 84%, are looking to get skills specifically in Salesforce, and 20% know some people in the ecosystem, and hands-on learning is the way to go. I'm a big fan of that. And other, I don't know, feel free to pop that in the chat if there's another reason that you're doing this skill set. I'm going to close that and let's move on. Thank you so much. So, knowing the tech is good, hands-on learning. I want some skills that are marketable. Knowing the tech is good and knowing holistically it's the right system, it's not enough sometimes. You have to drive success as a single contributor or a / employee, as a department, service, as a company, widgets are us, or as a community, service professionals. You have to drive success through people. So that's where trailblazers come in. So what is a trailblazer? It is the heart and soul, the community that's the heart and soul of Salesforce. And I kid you not, on internal meetings, trailblazers are always brought up. So let's talk a little bit about what trailblazers are, besides people who wear black sweatshirts and swag, or sometimes they get golden hoodies. But anyway, let's talk about success. And this is where we as Salesforce want you to understand the support framework and the advantages of pursuing Salesforce as a possible career path. Salesforce has what's called the Trailblazer community. 15 million trailblazers, single people, all sharing, all working in the Salesforce ecosystem. 1,300 community groups, some of them virtual, most of them local, and many span different types, such as developer, marketing, women in tech, and in 90 countries. That's what I'm talking about. Those global initiatives, there is right now international community conferences going on that people can go join. Anyway, you see a couple of definitions of what a trailblazer is: a pioneer, an innovator. I personally resonate with a lifelong learner, um, a leader who leaves a path for others to follow. Uh, you don't have to be a manager to lead. You don't have to be a director to lead. You just have to be a person who shares the best knowledge they have and isn't afraid to speak up and do the right thing. So each of us is a leader. And I always say my strength in leadership is my influence on my team. And most importantly, a person who builds a better world for others. So, there's volunteer opportunities, there's knowledge sharing opportunities. Again, knowing your strength is where you build that better world. So I know my strength, my mantra is sharing is caring. That is how I always approach my training, any kind of content development I do, working with SMEs, getting them to buy in. It's that sharing and caring that is my number 3. So that's how I trailblaze. That's how I show leadership and how I build a better world for others. Another thing, those 90 countries, you could literally meet trailblazers in person or online at group meetings, community events, and community collaborative sites, and basically follow the sun on that adventure. So never feel you're alone, especially when you need help with a question, because that is what we're going to talk about in a bit. So trailblazing in a nutshell. So how important are trailblazers to the Salesforce ecosystem and the economy? I'm just going to go over a few of these items. I'm not going to read the whole slide. That irks me. But in the Salesforce economy, this includes people like customer staff, say service agents, to CRM product owners, to on-staff developers, scrum masters. It includes partners who are service providers, service consultants. It includes change management people, trainers, documentation specialists, QA specialists. 9.3 million new Salesforce economy jobs by 2026. Okay, so learning a skill set is really advantageous. And then I want to talk about the global reskilling. 50% of an increase in demand for employees with digital skills. And this works for your benefit, right? Salesforce focuses on digital first experiences in all of its clouds. And this again can span from anything from business analysts, project management, service agents, sales reps, admins, developers, data analysts, and the list goes on. And I'm just going to be honest. I'm thinking that many of these people on this call, you have those digital skills already. And another thing that is a big message for Salesforce, I'm going to talk about the 133 million new jobs, is that idea of digital transformation. It's a hard economy. Companies are looking at ways to automate, at ways to make efficient decisions, efficiencies in their processes. And that's what digital transformation is called. Maybe moving away from snail mail to marketing campaigns, digital marketing campaigns. That's just an example of one digital transformation. In the Blazing Your Trail, because I was a former group leader, I'm going to really push those trailblazer communities because you've already seen Trailhead. So whether you are in the middle of nowhere, small town, medium town, a large city, the trailblazer community is full of trailblazers who will guide you in all sorts of ways, whether through sharing knowledge or helping you build a network. The community is both in person and virtual. And let's talk about that for just one moment. So trailblazer community groups, it's not really hosted on Trailhead because it's a different, it's an event system, let's say. So you see this little map, you can explore it by location, look for a city. If I go to the actual site, And Brooke, not if you can see the site. Okay. It's trailblazercommunitygroups.com. And you can see that you can see what events are going on rather close. But you can also find do a city search, or come down and look in the region. You can see where all these community groups are worldwide. You could literally do a road trip across the United States and go visit community groups and build a network like that. They are always happy to meet new people. I guarantee it. As a community group leader, former, definitely. You can also check out like South America, Asia Pacific virtual. If I were to say, let me see. I just want to give you an example of what kind of groups are in the Trailblazer community, and I'll just use Phoenix since I'm here. Women in tech, architect groups, admin groups, nonprofit groups, and the developer groups. Those are just an example. You go to a larger city, you'll see 3 or 4 more. So again, you can always go to a meeting, meet new people, start making connections, and the community is nothing but open. So let me tell you about how I started with the Salesforce community. I started with my first Salesforce project. I'm going to go back to this. And I was a knowledge manager, communities or experience cloud administrator. My specialization was in self-service, and we did this big project for K-12. And the Salesforce consultant said, "I think you have the hang of this," because I wasn't afraid to ask questions. I wasn't afraid to try things hands-on, in the sandbox, or looking and asking, well, what about this process question, et cetera. So always ask questions. He said, I think you have the hang of this. So you should learn more. You should join a community and just get involved. And he showed me like the web page, Phoenix User Community Group for admins. And I'm an introvert by nature. So I had to push myself, and I guarantee I still had to push myself when I was hosting meetings, but it was a challenge, and it was a change, and it was good for me. So I pushed myself, went to the meetings. I met great friends there. And I helped bring in the sodas and pizza for the meetings. Pizza is my power food, so I was hooked. So eventually I did become a user group leader as the groups grew, and I continued to drive my skill sets up on Trailhead and through certification studies that other members of the community were like, yeah, you can do this. I've got a cert, you can do it, you can do it. And they gave me pointers and pushed me towards different sites to go study in and things like that. So as my community adventures continued, I presented sessions at meetings. I engaged with partners and vendors to get them to share their expertise with our community members. And I presented at Dreamforce twice, simply because my confidence and experience kind of grew. And I would have never had those opportunities if someone, at Salesforce didn't say, I think you have the hang of this, go learn more, and go try more, go get it. So these communities are great to grow professionally and learn constantly. And though some of you may be remote, my hunch is that many of you are more digitally adept than myself, and virtually connecting and collaborating may be something that to you is second nature, and to many of us have kind of become second nature. So don't be afraid to join a virtual meeting, even if it's, say, in Denver and the Women in Tech have a virtual meeting. Join, even if you're in New York or Texas or somewhere else, join. And many user groups might still be conducting or are still conducting hybrid when it works. So attend, ask questions, and grow your network. Oh, and now it's time to get a poll up. Have you tried any of the following? Joining or looking at the local Salesforce community groups, visiting a virtual Salesforce affinity group, such as Release Readiness or Salesforce Jobs, or following Salesforce experts or groups on LinkedIn. So we'll give you a few moments. All of those, I do all 3 honestly. So again, it can be overwhelming sometimes when your emails are coming through with all the group things and such. But it's all good.
I'm learning so much. I didn't realize there was so much community around Salesforce.
Oh yeah, we depend on trailblazers, and that's what anybody who steps into that ecosystem, you are a trailblazer, because once you start working within a business, you'll find that you are a champion. You're going to have to know the best practices. You're going to have to know some of the tech if that's where you are, or why things are designed a certain way, or it's just everybody has a part to play.
Yeah. It's nice to know you've got that support.
Great. A lot of you have followed experts or groups on LinkedIn. That's perfect. And okay, again, those affinity groups, definitely choose them wisely. My knowledge group, I love knowledge. I used to be a big community templates person, but now I'm working mostly in the partner community. But anyway, awesome. Yeah, I think this is a healthy balance. And so now we're going to talk about Trailhead and the Trailhead Advantage. And this is where my notes like stop printing. So here we go. The Trailhead Advantage. You're going to skill up and drive your career. So Trailhead, we've all been there. Oops. Oh, by the way, these are community conferences. Sorry. You could see conferences all over the place. So, and those are run by community groups. So people who care and take that on. Okay, so anyway, Trailhead, here we go today. We've all been there. And Trailhead, you're learning in demand skills. You, with super badges, can earn resume-worthy credentials. We know this. But you can also research questions there, and it'll pop up with an automation like somebody's already answered this question, best answer, those kind of things. You can connect with Salesforce experts, such as community groups. So if I look at groups, and don't get slow on me now, internet, you'll just start joining groups, set your notification preferences accordingly, so that you're not seeing them every day, but maybe once a week. You could see that my groups are release readiness. If you're really interested in keeping those skills up, release readiness is a must, honestly. Notice I'm in Service Cloud and community templates and things like that. If you get a credential, when you get a credential, you have to maintain your credentials. So again, at Trailhead, the credentials, you maintain certifications once you get that very precious certification. I'm not kidding. You work hard for it. Don't let it lapse. You can verify certifications. I'm going to be honest with you. As a customer, when I worked with my customer groups, if I thought a partner wasn't up to snuff, honestly, I would go look at their credentials and verify that they had like those foundations that I needed. And I would ask questions, kind of, nicely, but they're important. So once you get one, maintain it there. Trailhead also has skill sets, as tools. It's like a big toolbox. You don't just work with a hammer or a screwdriver. You don't just become a process automation guru. You can, that can be your specialty, but you also need that human element, working with people, public speaking skills, as I have a hard time saying that, emotional intelligence, learning about how Salesforce does business. Why are the clouds designed the way they are? We have sales and service cloud, but if you're interested in the nonprofit or the higher ed educational cloud, those are there too. So you can learn all about these different clouds. And then the technologies, if you're going to go in deep and learn about artificial intelligence or Einstein bots and development, Lightning Web Components, all of those, all in Trailhead as your starting point. Trailhead also introduced, I say this like it's an old school, but 8 years ago when I was dealing with one other system and Salesforce knowledge, um, Salesforce had a sandbox, a trailhead. They had hands-on challenges that I could reinforce my best practices, learn more. Having that dev box open and even that sandbox structure when you're working with a customer is amazing. Um, so that you can try things, you can develop things as an admin, as a business analyst. That is a game changer, and Trailhead is just leads the way, and other companies are catching up, but it is the model. I will not kid you, this column is worth looking at, this growth of your career. Um, Once I just, I use Trailhead every week, right? I see a gap, I check to see if there's a trail that I haven't done, I go do it. Um, so a third of the people surveyed uh, found a new job or made a career change by skilling up on Trailhead, maybe getting super badges. 50% received a promotion or a raise. I'll tell you what, I skilled up. I was able to negotiate or speak more confidently, just really show that I was committed to learning Salesforce at my old company. And so that leaves an impression. And 2/3 of the people are more productive because of Trailhead, because they're learning best practices. They're learning hands-on learning, and seeing how things work. Yeah, they're gonna take it back. They're gonna share it, and they're gonna hopefully drive success. And so the takeaway I would like you to have from this is Trailhead helps trailblazers set examples of excellence in many organizations. And that example of excellence, as I said before, individual, department, company, community, those kind of things. It builds up.
Gloria, I wanted to interject just a moment here. You had dropped the Trailblazer community groups link in the chat, and we've had a question about joining groups. If you're new to Salesforce and you don't have any, and you're just starting,
Mhm.
is that a good place to start? Where would you, it seems like there's so many resources. How would you prioritize getting involved?
Um, I would I would start by uh, finding what I'm interested on Trailhead, and then finding a group that kind of, if it was local, if I'm a developer, I would probably visit the developer group. Um, and I think you can still enroll with, say, a LinkedIn or a Twitter handle on those Trailblazer community groups. You can sign in. You do have to sign up for them to send you the the um, the message to join their sessions or the meeting invites. Um, so you would have to sign up, or when you get your own developer org, again, that hands-on org. I, for the longest time, had my Gmail as my developer org. So that was where I would build solutions. I would, that for me, because my career path may not be the same career path as my employer. So I wanted my own dev org so that I could build my own portfolio. So using that ID, I signed up for Trailblazer community groups, and that was kind of where I got all my information. But I would say join a community group first. Go have a free soda and some snacks, and listen to like what's coming out, and just introduce yourself to the group leaders and get to know people. That would start there.
Yeah. So it's okay if you're new, just jump in.
Oh, oh my gosh, we love new people. If you're old, you've been here like 3 times. We want to see new people. I'm just kidding. Um, Everybody, I cannot tell you how welcoming the community is to new people. And they are just more than happy to help you. Everybody's got their own path. They'll give you their own journey. Just ask. So yeah. We good? Okay. So this screen kind of shows you the different career paths you could have at Salesforce. Um, Architects, consultants, service management, sales careers. Again, that doesn't just mean sales rep. I keep telling one of my friends, you are so good at sales operations. You know Salesforce. You should go head like sales operations or something. And she's like, no, I love sales. So but there are so many different ways to do that. And I do kind of want to call out that these two at the bottom, the business analysts and data analysts, they kind of transcend. They can go work in many different systems. They're looking at business processes and the way the business functions. So they might be looking at a database, at data integrity, and then how does it work in Salesforce and where does it go after that? And so there are so many different career paths. I do want to kind of bring that up. Like this is where you would find it on Trailhead. And then it was down at the bottom, but it's career paths. Oh, learn career paths. And then you go and then you could just kind of, let's take a look at sales careers. And then this gives you some basic information about base salary. I'll tell you one thing. Mason Frank does a survey every year of Salesforce salaries. So write that down so that when you go out and you start looking, you can kind of know what kind of information, lead with knowing your worth. Always know your worth. So it got some related trails and things like that. And so that's really cool that, you can go look and the wages are right there and the information is right there. This is Jody Herbeck. I follow her on LinkedIn. She's funny, she's witty. I'm going to read this to you. We got time. Food for thought for those contemplating a Salesforce career, intrigued but afraid that you aren't technical enough or that your skills don't translate. If you don't know flow or even want to know, there are plenty of places for you to go. If you don't know a lick of code, there are still options on the Salesforce road. If you don't point and click or set up lightning pages, there are other ways to make Salesforce wages. And we just saw that. You can train users. You can manage a project, document current and future state processes, lead a Scrum team, test functionality in QA, analyze business requirements, sell products, recruit talent in HR, market ISVs, and write technical documentation because we all know developers kind of stink at it. Anyway, but so many different aspects that you can, honestly, you could apply this to any software, but it's just more fun with Salesforce. So I think we have another poll, and oh yeah, time for a poll. There we go. Got the Cody up. Okay, what career path looks interesting? Administrator or configuration specialist, business process analyst, project or scrum master, data analyst, Salesforce UX designer. Somebody mentioned on Jody's stream, what about UX design? It's big. Efficiencies come when I look at the screen. So UX design is huge. Salesforce developer, sales service marketer. You get the gist. An architect.
I feel like another thing I'm seeing in even maybe hearing in your story too, is that you bring what skills you have, Salesforce, and apply them to, a career with Salesforce.
Every skill set is transferable. I still use skills from my Pizza Hut days in college. I mean, I kid you not. And when I think about service, I'm still using skills, always tell the customer, like in a chat, okay, I'll be back in 2 minutes. I'm going to check this. That's just good service. So let's see what you said. A lot of you are looking into configuration. Again, that means that you're going to know a lot about role hierarchy, field level security, object creation. So, it's more than just clicking. It's how do I configure this thing so that it's secure and works and scalable. Business or process analyst, a good one is when you don't have a good one, you know it. So awesome that many of you are interested in that. Sales service and marketer, also good, especially that marketing. Marketing is huge. And I'm with the 21%. I still don't know. I haven't made up my mind, but I'm using my skills now to kind of just go where I go. But on Udemy, I have Apex courses I'm taking, field service stuff I'm doing. So always looking for the next thing and following your interest. That's the most important thing. We're still on Trailhead because there's still stuff. You have your super badges. So again, those are great for hands-on, real-world business scenario problems. One of the things is I did have in my notes, once you check your super badge challenge, then think about how you can stretch it. Well, what if this milestone had this other level of error, or something that the SLA had to meet. Let me go design that. Use your developer org or your Salesforce, Trailhead org to play. Take screenshots, take small videos, build your portfolio, get your confidence, and talk about those things when you go interview, because you would have built a great skill set by then. Super badges do help you on the road to certifications. Again, there's plenty of certifications on Trailhead. What I do want to show you is, like, if you were interested, a lot of you were in business analyst, interested about that. That's under certifications and certifications on Trailhead. Get the exam guide. You will know your prerequisite certification if that's where you want to go. And then you have some Trailhead mixes, and then it'll say join the Trailblazer community. And there, I tell you what, there are lots of business analyst sessions. So if you can hit one virtually, do it, because those people love to share. They've got some great practices. So yeah, again, once you get that valuable cert, never let it go. Just maintain it 3 times a year. And so once you get those certifications and you're building your portfolio, this expertise impact, I cannot stress it enough. Chances are you're 5.5% more influential. It may be on your team. It may be the manager. It may be the director that you're more influential. It may be working with a community group, as a knowledge expert like myself. You're 90% more productive because you're more confident. That's all there is to it. And you get more projects, more stuff that you are responsible for, but it's a good challenge. And 35% more impactful. So yeah, impact, influence, it helps make a difference, and it helps you negotiate and rise in your wages, in your confidence, and in your career. So we're almost at the end of the session. Something new, and I'll show you on the Trailblazer Me profile. You get a unified profile. I didn't do this, but I might go back and change my blurb to be the same on LinkedIn as it is on the Trailblazer profile. You get a skills graph, which is interesting because my skills are all over the place, as many people's are, because you follow what interests you at the moment, and you can have a vanity URL that you can surface on your Salesforce section of your say resume or something like that. But let's go back to Trailhead, and I'm going to hit my profile, and we'll just go over this. So I only use LinkedIn. That's me. Call me a fuddy-duddy. It's okay. But I have my LinkedIn linked here, and did my blurb. See my Trailhead Ranger points. You'll see your certifications growing as you get them, and don't let them go. You maintain them. And then, sort of see your super badges and your skills, and maybe, the skills might show you where your interests really do lie. And then you just see the badges you've been working on and such. But this Hire Me button is the new thing. They just released it like a month and a half ago. I haven't clicked it because I'm not really going there, but you might click it when you get your skill set ready. So anyway, that's Trailhead, and how you as a Trailblazer can use it to your benefit. So we do have some other suggested resources, and Brooke, I think you're going to put those in the presentation. And there was one I found today as well. That is not it. It's going here, and I'm going to put this in Trailblazer blog. This was explicitly called out by the Trailblazer Guide initiative for new trailblazers. So they have a blog and a place that they share information for people who are new. So that one's new. And then I did put in things that I thought were really, really interesting. Future Force, it's university recruiting dedicated to building the next generation of talent. Got the mentorship program, job seekers to one-on-one people and group mentorship opportunities, Pathfinder program specifically to find people who are put on a path to, level up and get their skills in Salesforce. All of them serve different needs, but they're all there for you. And then you have the Trailblazer blog that I just shared, Trailblazer community groups. And LinkedIn I just put in because, I do find it very valuable for good information. So I'm gonna go here, and then we'll have one final poll. And Brooke is loading your stuff. So, Colin, how can I be an asset with these sales? Okay, poll question. So we're going to do a poll question, and then we're going to answer your questions. So which part of the session helped you the most? Learning about Salesforce as a company, learning about the Trailblazer community, learning about Trailhead overall, and learning about career paths and credentials.
Well, I will say personally, I think for me, the top was learning about the Trailblazer community because I really didn't have an idea. I had sort of an initial idea, but I didn't know the scope of it all. I didn't understand that there were people that meet in person and that it's so globally distributed.
Yeah, and I didn't give the conferences enough due. They're great, the community conferences. So a lot of you like the community stuff, but over 50% of you said the career paths and credentials, so that, again, you never go wrong if you follow your interests. And there's something for everyone in Salesforce. So somebody asked, I currently work in facilities and operations. How can I be an asset to Salesforce with these skills? You skill up, and there are things like field service, service cloud, but even your facilities group, they need scheduling. They need to manage inventory. They need things like that, and aspects like that are in Salesforce as well. But again, you can go to the Trailblazer resources and find stories of a lot of people similar in similar places. Started off, some didn't have a college degree, were working in, say, a industrial location, and they skilled up and they got a job as an admin. So you can take those skills. I mean, human interaction, just skills like that, always transferable. So I think,
Also, Gloria, what
go
I
ahead.
is in your work, in your company, where you work, it seems likely that someone is currently using Salesforce. And I wonder about, in addition to, as you mentioned, you can go to Trailhead and pursue skills there, but also figure out what's going on at your company and who is using Salesforce and sort of maybe check in with them. It seems like folks that are trailblazers are more than happy to kind of help you skill up and think about how you can take your skills and combine that with.
Yeah. And maybe even ask in your own department, how do we use Salesforce? What do we use? And there might be opportunities right there. Yeah, we don't use it at all. It's useless. This is true. But if you know something and you're like, well, I don't think so. I mean, you can learn about how your company uses it and become what's called a champion, a usability champion. And just, again, sharing what you learn is one of the most important things about upskilling and finding those little steps towards opportunities, I think. So looking around, how does your company use it? Does it use it at all? But again, you're getting skills, every day, and those can be transferable. How can one begin to create a portfolio or learning hands-on skills on Trailhead? So again, those trails are pretty set. But when your imagination starts working, like there's things like Build a Battle Station app. I think there's a cat rescue org for nonprofits. So there's trails that kind of let you see a business scenario, and they'll get you to like the basic of the best practices. But say for instance, that cat rescue org had an experience cloud item in it, like module, and you made a page of whatever it is for cat rescue. But you really liked Experience Cloud. So you're like, well, what if I expose the cases or for picking up cats, let me make a couple cases and let me expose it to, our nonprofit contact or something like that. So then you're stretching. They're what I call stretch exercises. So you learn best practices, pass the trail, and then maybe you start thinking, well, what if the business needed this? And then you go figure it out and see if you build it, write it down, take a screen cap, and just start building your portfolio. Keep your dev org active, and those dev orgs will be updated with the releases, so you'll always get the newer stuff. So you can keep building and just stay in one place technically with your dev org. And I hope that was okay. How can one begin to create a portfolio? And in case you didn't know, you do have like trailhead playgrounds and things like that. But if you get if you want to get a developer org, sign up for your developer edition. So this one, it can be a standalone away from, it'll be blank. You won't have any data in there. So you can really just, imagination is your only limit. You could get a copy of that developer org for free. And that developer org is also like it's like a production org. There are some limits against sandboxes and production, but you could practice Workbench. You could practice, if you're a Devi person, you could do some integrations in there and so, on from test orgs and things like that. So that's a dev org. So if you want one that's kind of like there all the time, you could start there. If you want to build from a trailhead playground, say you did a super badge and you want to keep working with that particular scenario, just keep that trailhead playground in, take a screen cap, write a little bit of a blurb as a backup in case it ever expires. Are jobs available for entry level with no prior experience? That's a hard one. And that's something that we got a lot of community members asking when they were especially trying to make changes. They're, again, going through some of those resources and getting some of the stories of other members who've had similar questions or experiences and how they did would be a good starting point. But entry level with no prior experience, I think you might have to work your way into it. If you had a strong portfolio, if you had something like a blog page where you showed, hey, I'm a student, but these are the things, these are the apps I built. If you were somebody like that, you might be able to jump into a position. But again, we gave you some links, and also with Pathstream, use those resources, because probably the best place to get experience and on an entry level is consultants and partners, because they have their own training. And so if you came through and you were a business analyst, and you went to a partner and said, well, I'm really interested in sustainability. We have a sustainability cloud. You could probably get in there and with a partner and look for programs, at Pathstream, or if you're in a university, look for those university programs that partner with like Deloitte and Cognizant, the really big ones, because they're out there. And I would say that might be a good place to start. If you want to go the nonprofit route, you can do nonprofit trails on Trailhead, get a nonprofit org, do the same thing, build a portfolio. When you feel comfortable, you could do volunteer work for a nonprofit org on Catch a Fire. There are plenty of places, Taproot and Catch a Fire are places where pastime, but are places that you can go and volunteer, but be careful because these people are asking for help. So if you feel confident that you can do it, you can build your resume too by helping nonprofits out. I'm new for Salesforce and planning to take the exam next month. Any advice? Brooke, have you talked to them about maybe third-party practice test?
Yeah, I mean, I would actually, if you want to follow up, I had dropped enrollments at pathstream.com for more information sort of broadly. If you have questions, because of course we are kind of at time, but if you have more questions like this, we are absolutely helpful, or rather absolutely ready to kind of work with you in terms of Salesforce broadly. I think that I had, so I've got the enrollments at pathstream.com, and please do reach out, and you will also receive this access to this recording in an email tomorrow that will be coming to your inbox.
Yeah, on the community groups, there used to be like an admin training group where you could meet with other people and take the training. But I'd also say I take my practice test in Udemy or Focus on Force. There's like $20 and you get a bunch of different practice tests, and taking it with that time limit, taking it in the methodology that Salesforce has them, multiple choice, sometimes single choice, and understanding how those questions are written are it's test taking strategy, honestly. So I would definitely use a couple of those sites to practice for your cert. I think we're good. I think we're at time. So
we are. I just really quickly, we had someone that had asked about having completed the PMP training, so project management, and they have higher ed data management experience. Does that, I mean, it seems like that would really fit in with, couple that with Salesforce, and that's a really strong set of skills.
Yeah, I would. Higher ed is a different kind of application on top of Salesforce. It's got its own data structure, but certainly look into the education cloud technology path. And, I can provide some resources a little bit later, but there's education cloud specifically for K-12 and higher ed customers. So I think you are well skilled to kind of do a jump, learning a little bit about those products as well.
And then just two more quick things before we're over time, but Stephen had highlighted in the chat Pathstream's Coursera course, so thank you for that shout out. Indeed, that is also content that's available to you. Becky, I just want to really quickly answer your question. You can still take advantage of the career development resources, so if you want to email us, we can work with you. So Gloria, I want to say thank you so much for sharing your story, sharing all of this information with us. And I have learned so much I feel like we've had such a responsive audience with really great questions, and I feel like they have learned so much as well. So thank you.
Sure. Well, feel free to, link in me and, get to those resources and find what gets you motivated. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you so much.